I've taken some time to absorb all the information surrounding Xenoblade Chronicles 3. I've watched plenty of analysis and theory videos coming from people such as Flying, Anel, Luxon, etc. I've heard plenty of basic information and general thoughts from other creators such as Player Essence, and I've also watched a few live streams and podcasts discussing possible story and gameplay elements, including HMK's Fifth Dimension. Let's just say, with one simple trailer and a few posts by developers, the whole Xeno community already thinks they've figured out everything. In this video, I just want to go over my thoughts on the trailer and everything else we know about the game. This video will contain spoilers for Xenoblade 1, 2, and their expansions. You've been warned. So without further ado, let's get into it. Let's start off with the designs. Probably my biggest concern about Xenoblade 3 before it was revealed was the character designs. I could care less about the design of a character, but I know a lot of people do. Unfortunately, many people were not fans of the character designs in Xenoblade 2. So, I can thankfully say, thank you so much Masatsugu Saito. Thank you for making the character designs in this game much more appealing. I'm absolutely in love with the character designs in this game. My personal favorites are probably Noah and Uni, and Uni will be the best waifu in this game, no doubt. Along with the character designs improving, so are the enemy designs along with the world building. Just look at this shot. Doesn't this look magnificent? If all or most of the background in this shot is explorable, this will definitely be the biggest and most ambitious Switch game. Xenoblade's visuals have always been good. There are some moments where the visuals can stutter every now and then, but these games always push the Switch's boundaries, so that's to be expected. Xenoblade 3 seems to somehow improve the visuals of the series. The cutscenes already look spectacular, and while there are some awkward graphics in the gameplay portion of the trailer such as this one, I'm sure that by the time the game will release, those will all be improved. The voice acting in the Xenoblade series is usually hit or miss, especially with Xenoblade 2. I'm sure that almost everyone can agree that Xenoblade 1's voice acting is phenomenal, and so far, 3 seems to be the same thing. Of course, the European voice acting is still around, but Senna does seem to have an American voice.
I knew it! I saw this coming!
But that might not even be her voice. In Noah's VA, I somehow hear Shulk and Rex at the same time. I hear Shulk here.
Tell me, what would possess you to side with them?
And I hear Rex here.
You could try to move forwards again.
And Miyu of course sounds a lot like Nia, and the voice similarity must be intentional. And even Van Damme's voice actor is back. But I don't think that this is Van Damme. Each new confirmed party member has their own character description. Both Noah and Mio seem to be equal protagonists according to their descriptions, and hopefully that holds true. If I had to call any of the usual character tropes in the Xenoblade games, I'd say that Lons would be the comedic character like Ryan and Zeke, considering his similar figure to them. I'd also say that Taion would be the role model character like Dunban and Morag. His description says that he is an intelligent ally of Mio, so this seems to be the fitting role. Finally, and unfortunately, I believe that Uni will be the girl who gets friend-zoned. Her description says that she is a childhood friend of Noah who has a sharp tongue and a rough personality. If Noah begins to form a bond with Mio, then I think that Uni will begin to get jealous, and she will eventually lose Noah to Mio. Uni is like a mixture of Nia and Fiora, being a childhood friend of the protagonist and having a rough attitude. Also, I do believe that we might get 1 or 2 more party members, especially considering that there isn't a Nopon party member yet. Every Xenoblade game, besides Torna, has had a Nopon party member, so it would be very strange if Xenoblade 3 doesn't have one. The whole Xeno series has always had amazing stories, and Xenoblade 3 seems to be no different. However, many people think that they have already figured out so many of the story's details, but trust me, it's not and never will be that easy. I think that the core focus of the story has just barely been touched on. We have the war with the Kevis and Agnes, but that's just the beginning. The whole ticking clocks in our eyes thing is also something that has been talked about a lot, but once again, it won't be that easy to figure out. Trust me, this game has so much more hidden inside it that we won't even expect at all, and it could involve returning characters. Melia and Nia seem to be coming back, but the shots that they're shown in might not even be them. But it probably is, because I don't think that they would show those shots if they were someone else, especially because they were in the last part of the trailer. All 3 Aegises should return as well, maybe besides Malos, but I do think Malos will show up somewhere, and if he doesn't, he'll definitely be mentioned. Other characters that could possibly be alive and show up are Tyrea, Teal'c, all the Mechana, Poppy, Dromark, Brigid, Zeke, Pandoria, and Azurda. Shulk and Rex might appear, but it would probably be in a flashback. But I would pop off so hard if they appear alive somewhere. The interesting thing is how they will incorporate Xenoblade X. Now, X might not even be mentioned at all, but I'm sure that it will either be incorporated or referenced somewhere in this game. So, to quickly recap, everything I've talked about so far is something that I look forward to in Xenoblade 3. But here are my 2 concerns. Okay, please hear me out. To be honest, I'm not even concerned about the 2 things that I'm about to mention. I just have a couple of questions. First up, the combat. Knowing that 4 people will now be in the party, this might cause some problems for some players. Several people like beat-em-ups were not a fan of Xenoblade 2's combat because of how complicated it was. And with a 4-person party, the battle system might become even more complicated. I'm positive that Monolith Soft has fixed up the tutorials for this game, especially considering that was debatably the biggest complaint about 2. Definitive Edition had good tutorials, so I'm sure that 3 will have good ones as well. But for some people, that might not change how difficult it might be to understand the battle system. I love Xenoblade 2's battle system, and hopefully 3 can refine or change up the system entirely to be enjoyable for more people. My second concern is the music. Now, come on, do I really have to be worried about this? No, not at all. The Xenoblade series has always had incredible music. I just hope that the flute doesn't end up taking most of the spotlight, just because I'm personally not the biggest fan of it. While I don't mind the flute aesthetic, it shouldn't take up most of the spotlight because Xenoblade is known for its variety of music. I'm sure that we will still have the gorgeous open world themes like Gower Plain and Gormott, the banger battle themes like You Will Know and You Will Recall Our Names, the dramatic boss themes like the God-Slaying Sword and the Acting God. But once again, I'm just hoping that the flute doesn't take up the spotlight from other instruments and genres. In short, Xenoblade 3 seems to be coming along nicely. I know that my questions will be answered well, and I fully trust Monolith Soft with this masterpiece. I cannot wait any longer for September. If I could predict the release date, I would say September 9th, just because it would be the 7th month anniversary of it being announced. Anyway, thank you all so much for watching. I hope you're looking forward to Xenoblade 3 just like I am. Have a great rest of your morning, afternoon, evening, and night.